Hi, folks. So, before I get into the topic of fake love, I think that's what I'm going to title it. I wanted to just share a synchronicity that happened to me a few days ago. So basically, I live in a complex. I rent a townhouse. I've been here for about 2 months, and there's lampposts throughout the area, the common area of the townhouse, of the complex, and one in front of every house. And so there's one in front of mine, and it's a very bright CFL light bulb. It's very bright, and it's if I sit on my balcony, it's blaring. It's very overwhelming for me. I have to put something in its way to block it out. In my bedroom at night, it shines through. I've got these block out curtains, which definitely help, but I get annoyed. So it's not in my control, and I feel helpless towards it, and it generally frustrates me. And there's nothing I can do. Like if I speak to the body corporate, they'll say there's no ways. This is for security. This is for everyone else's benefit. You don't have the right to switch it off. No, I'm not even going to win. So just kind of leave it at that. Anyway, so I was just having a day 3 days ago where I just felt very sort of frustrated with things, very helpless and kind of annoyed. And so I went just for a walk in the complex, which I've only done twice. This is the second time I've ever gone for a walk in this complex. Because now it's locked down, but so you can't walk on the streets here, but you can walk in the complex, although you're not supposed to as well. The government, which I'll get into, how extreme the lockdown is and whatever it is. And anyway, so I went for a walk. I'm going for a run, and I'm listening to music and whatever it is, and I'm passing. Now this was another thing. I went around the whole complex. There's 28 or 29 houses, so it's a bit of whatever. And as I'm running past a lamppost outside my house, I'm looking at it, I'm saying, damn, this thing frustrates me. I really feel helpless by it. And then, honestly, a split second later, it just goes off. Just switched off. So I thought it was a power failure, because here we have load shedding, and, they cut the power for the whole suburb, the whole area, for 3-4 hours, whatever it is. And so I look around, and all the lights are still on. I'm thinking, what the hell is going on here? Right, I look at all the other lampposts, and they're also off. So I go to the other side of the complex, and I see all the lampposts are off. And I can't believe this. I mean, the wind was taken out of me. I was in such shock by it, and such surprise by it. I just felt like, I don't know, I was just misplaced. Like, what's going on here? I literally was looking at this lamppost. I gave, I sort of mentioned how it frustrates me, how, and then boom, it switches off. Anyways, to this day, sorry, it's probably about 5 days ago now that the lamppost went off. Maybe 4 days, hard to recall. But still, so they brought in an electrician, and he managed to fix all the other lampposts, in the complex, except for a few, and the one that just lies outside my house. And I mean, for myself, the message was loud and clear for me. It came in and says, you're more powerful than than you realize, than you have any concept of, any possibility, to such a large degree. And you are heard, and you are felt, and you are acknowledged. And that was the power of that synchronicity for me. It still blows my mind, because the chances of it were, I didn't switch it off. I didn't trip any wires. I didn't do anything, folks. It just switched off. Okay, and so very, very powerful indeed. And we mustn't overlook that. We mustn't, when these things happen, these kind of synchronicities occur, that we mustn't take it for granted at all. In fact, we've got to meditate on it, and don't let it slip by very easily. And try and also, I find, like with every synchronicity, not everyone, but I mean, there are some that really are very empowering. They come with a very strong message, right? It's sort of like an intuitive gut feeling that I get. It's like, and so just yeah, we need to be aware of it, and it's talking to us. The universe, God, whatever it is, the angels, the higher power is talking to us in the material realm and whatnot. I mean, if you just think about the chances of it going off, like, what mechanisms was triggered, what happened metaphysically, esoterically, in a sense, that switched off the lamppost. Like, what actually happened? What wires were disconnected? And it's just too bizarre to even ponder about, and how instantaneous that happened to my thinking at the same time, as well. So it was simultaneous. It was like, so if whatever heard me, felt me, right, knew what was going on, within a split second they knew to just switch the lights off and disconnect it. It's beyond, and it's bizarre, and that's what I think we're working with, and I think that's more of the time that we're also going into as well. So that's just okay. So that's a side note. I wanted to talk about, and I'm not ready for this talk, but I just feel that there's many ideas and insights that I'm wanting to talk about of late, and I'm not finding the space to do it, and they're building up and they're weighing on me, and I need to try, and I need to sort of just get out of my own way and allow it to come through. The more I try and control it, the more I try and, I don't know, take the wheel of it, the more I mess it up. The more I just got to step out of my own way and let the energy come through, let the insight come through, the expression come through, in that way. And so what I wanted to talk about was just something that for myself I noticed in regards to the government and how they're dealing with this situation of the lockdown being the most serious anywhere else in the world. The restrictions are the most severe here, okay? And it's terrible to see. It's really awful. I mean, they're not even going through the proper protocols, but the ministers are just saying, for example, no cooked food allowed, okay? And that's it. They're not giving a reason why. They're just whatever they want to say. They're just putting out whatever regulations, protocols that they want, and people are going to abide by it. You can't fight it. You can't stand up for your rights. You can't do anything. Whatever. And for myself, fine, whatever. That's something else. But I know that this government and most governments don't care for their citizens, don't care for the public, right? For them, it's a power control and psychological maneuver on so many levels, whatever it is. But it's like, again, this is a government who has allowed so much money to disappear through corruptive means. They're completely ineffective, let's just put it that way, generally completely ineffective. But now all of a sudden they care so much, right? And they're willing to go to such extreme measures. So for myself, it's bullying, right? It's bullying. And so this is how I relate to it. And so what comes up for me with bullying? Well, it reminds me of my relationship and my experience with my brother when I was growing up as a child, and still today, and how he's a bully and also pretty much a full-blown narcissist. I mean, I've done a lot of research on it, and he definitely checks out. And so, one of the things that came up for me was that it just seems that from even my brother's point of view, that he was just my brother and he was looking out for my best interest, right? That he cared for me, right? And that's what my parents used to say to me when I'd approach them when I was, a youngster, and I was, just suffering the wrath of my brother and his bullying and his torment and his physical abuse and his verbal abuse and whatever it was. And they would just say, no, he doesn't mean bad. He means well. He loves you. He's your brother. Now just, he's got a funny way of showing it, type of thing. And that came up for me. And then I realized that's what's also triggering me from the government, type of thing. It's like they're doing what's in best interest for the public, for the citizens of the people, right? And it's a false sense of affection, of love, okay? It's the same thing, like all of it. I mean, now that I've been getting on myself and I get these messages from these companies now, like my service provider for my cell phone, and we're wishing you a safe time, and if whatever it is, and we hope that we can make it through this together, and all these sort of very endearing, sympathetic, connect, but from all these companies, all these other companies, and it's like it's sales. It's like they've seen it as an opportunity, and they're saying, well, we really care for you. We're really concerned for your well-being, but we are here for you. I don't know how they're here for us or whatever it is, but so many companies am I getting messages from, or whatever, businesses that I'm getting messages from about stay safe. And if you don't know the number to call, well, here it is, and here's the website to, something or other. I think this is the camera here, folks. I'm trying to look into the camera. Anyway, so it's like all these messages. It's like, do you really care, type of thing. And so it's a false sense of love, or so-called love, but affection, right? It's a false sense, and we live in a world where we have it's a false sense um, of what governments do, of what companies do, insurance, medical, law, you just about name it. They all give a false sense a lot of the time, of for your well-being, right? They're all for your well-being, and they care for you. And the pharmaceutical companies that produce their pharmaceuticals and their medications, whatever it is, a lot of time it's because they care for you, right? The I don't know, fast food restaurants, they care for you. They want you to enjoy yourself. They want to make you happy, right? McDonald's, they want to make you happy. They care for you. They want to give you a good time. They want to give your children a happy time, a happy place, or something like that, right? It's clothing lines want to make you look good, so you look appealing. Aftershaves or perfumes want to make you smell nice and and be attractive to the opposite sex. They want to make you popular. Makeup and creams and whatever it is, it's there for you, for your to help you, to assist you. The car that you drive, how leisurable and how comfortable it is. I mean, also how overpriced it is. But we design it with you in mind, right? I mean, how many of these shopping malls that you go to, or these grocery stores, and it's like, we inspired by you, inspired for you type of thing, right? And it's always you and your feelings, and you are important, and you matter, and you can, and really, thank you for being such a loyal customer type of thing, or whatever it is. Which some of it's kind of can be true, but a lot of it is just disingenuous, right? A lot of it is just disingenuous. Like, I mean, you know how it is. Well, I know for myself, there's sometimes when I go to these supermarkets and I'm friendly, like I've seen the checkout, or people who work in let's say in the grocery store, and I make some friends, and I've seen them a few times, and they're very, hello sir, how are you doing? Can I help you? Yes. And when they see me again, they're very polite, and like let's say I'm going to the dentist and I see the receptionist and she's like, hello, and very welcoming. And so how much of that is genuine? How much of that, like, sometimes I really get confused with people. There was one guy in particular, he was a manager of a restaurant, and I thought we were good, like we were friends, and I would talk to him a lot, and he would know my order, and he would make it special, just guide it, add a little bit of extra for me, whatever it was, and then, he'd give me a wink when the plate would arrive, and I'd be like, yeah, man. And then I just thought, actually, I said to him, you want to exchange phone numbers, or if you, whenever you got some free time? And he's like, no, I'm very, very busy, type of thing. And then I realized it was just sales. I was just a customer to him. That's all I am, type of thing. And so, I've had it when you go to places where they expect tips, and, well, it's traditional to give a tip. But there was a massage lady that I used to go to, a Thai lady, and she was just too overly hospitable and friendly and whatever it is. And I was going through a bit of a tough patch, and I couldn't give any tips at that time. And then all of a sudden she just became sullen and not very, I didn't go back to her, obviously. But you know what I mean? And so these companies, the follow-up call, how did your experience go? We want to improve ourselves, which is sometimes true. But again, this incentive is not necessarily right. Okay? So that's from the world government, for example. Right, and they're looking out for you, and they're using your tax money and whatever it is, and all the policies that they put in place, and all the laws that they put in place is for your well-being, right? It's for your protection, it's for your safety, for your comfort, or whatever it is. I mean, the education, education is for your children, so you can have an education. You're privileged enough to have an education. But what is an education, right? And in some places, countries have, it's free education because, we care for the citizens, that we want them to become. But what is education? Well, we know what it is, right? I mean, it's a dumbing down. You don't, who you are as an individual is, well, you know what it is. It doesn't really teach you anything about life. It turns you into a business-minded person, or whatever it is, into a materialistic kind of person. It's not out for your best interest, right? It's there to make you another brick in the wall, basically, okay? I feel what I learned at school was maybe how to read and write, and maybe a few other things could have been taught to me within 1 year or something or other. All the other stuff was just rubbish, that it just really had no significance or deeper meaning or significance or importance in my life whatsoever. In fact, it wasted my years. School was an awful experience. It's highly competitive. It's very conforming, constricting. It's horrendous. It's a horrible place. And yet we deem school as education is something that's so important and very much needed and whatever it is. And so, governments who give you, what do they call it? They don't really do it here, I don't think, but they give you money to pay for your university so you can get an education, so you can get a university degree, and then, student loan, and then you can pay them back. So we're giving you the opportunity, we're helping you out with the loan, with the money, whatever it is. And so it's shysters. It's not genuine in the offerings or whatever it is. The companies that give you credit, or shops that give you credit, they're not out for your best interest. They give you loans or whatever it is. They're not. For some, maybe they're giving them an opportunity, but for many, they're just putting them in further debt, right? Further debt. And so that's kind of the world we work in. And like advertising, they're just, the way that they speak is just that they try to get you so excited, and they've got the best deal for you. We really have the best deal, and you've got to check this out, and it's a once in a lifetime opportunity, and we're telling you, type of thing. And so again, make you feel so special, so significant in a sense, or whatever it is. With I'm just thinking there's something in particular that really frustrates me. Okay, so some further points. For example, Facebook, social medias. Facebook is really such a benevolent company. It's really looking at, it wants you to connect to other people, to find long-lost lovers and long-lost friends that you haven't seen for ages, connect family members from around the world, or whatever it is, share our creations with one another, whatever, our days, our photos, etc., with one another. It just wants to connect us. It's got only benevolent intentions. Okay, well, we know that that's not the case at all. It's out for your data, it's out for your information, and it's out to sell you products. It's out to control your freedom of speech, your freedom of expression, or whatever it is. It's out to manipulate you. Okay, it's nefarious in its workings, but it comes across as, your friend, as revolutionary, as something to be excited about, something to be a part of. With this whole G5 story as well, the way that they sell it, it's like, get excited about it. It's going to change your life. It's such faster speeds. It's going to, in your home, it's going to be a smart home. It's going to be a smart city. It's really the best thing since sliced bread. You should be very, very excited about it, right? But we know how nefarious it is in its reality. So again, if it's with Instagram or whatever it is, with Twitter, with YouTube, YouTube is a massive one, okay? I'm talking on YouTube now, but YouTube is a massive one. It pretends, for you to share your videos, right, with your friends, with your family, which is true, right? And there is this aspect of it, but it's mostly about advertising, okay? It's mostly about perception control as well. They design it to be very addictive. Facebook as well. Why do they make the algorithms to be highly addictive, or whatever it is? Okay, so it's not out for your best interest. That's for sure. That's not what its priorities are. Okay, it's out for its own nefarious means and agendas. Okay, just moving on. Like news channels, right? What's with news channels? Well, do they really care about informing you of the news? Or do they want to, control you? Well, put you in fear? Do they want your attention? They want, they create clickbait titles or whatever it is, right? They don't really want to inform you of the truth, of what's really going on. That's not what they're really trying to do, okay? And we know what they're trying to do is a bigger agenda, right? Because of what they're trying to generally do is just to put you in fear and to control your perspective of reality and whatever it is and whatever and whatnot. But it's much more nefarious than that. Okay, it's giving you a perception of reality and the world and people and whatnot. And so again, it's, well, in regards to clickbait, it's like on YouTube, on the internet, you walk past the title, I'm saying the newspaper heading, whatever it is, uh, it's shocking a lot of the time, and it's fear-based. It just wants to get your attention, and whatever it is, it's risque, it's and so on and so forth. And so again, they want your subscription, they want your attention. They're all just, but under the guise that they're wanting to inform you of reality, and of the world, and of, of the news, of what's going on, type of thing. There's more to media as well. Let me just think. Yeah, anyway, there's a lot about media as well, and especially now with this whole CV story that's going on. Okay, at the moment, it's just trying to fear. It's just trying to put fear in you. It's just trying to control you. It's just trying to manipulate you. That's all it's trying to do. I mean, when they put the CV stats up online, and whoever even designs these programs or whatever it is, it gives the stats, and it's like horrific graphics. It's red, splattered of blood, on the different continents or something like that, and it's red, black, and white, obviously, usually, and etc. And it's startling, and they're not doing it in a kind manner. They're wishing to control you through fear. They haven't got a good heart about what they're doing. The government doesn't have a good heart about how they're coming across with this epidemic. They're not handling it correctly. It's very one-sided point of view. They've painted such a hopeless and bleak picture, and such a desperate picture. They've skewed it completely. They've twisted it in such a massive way, where a virus that has a 0.5% death rate, mortality rate, has turned into, the biggest killer that the world has ever seen. And if you step outside your door, it'll capture, it'll get you, and it'll kill you, and straighten, so on and so forth, and whatever it is. And again, folks, we live in a world where we deem it's necessary to put people in fear in order for them to listen, not love. Okay, not genuine care, not genuine affection. So I really feel that a lot of the people in the world today, they know in their soul, in their being, for those that still are connected to some degree or another, that they know that this is not necessary, that these are fear tactics, that this is not coming from a loving and soulful and thoughtful place, right? This is coming from a deceptive, manipulative, and controlling place, and they know it, but they just don't want to admit it. They just don't want to admit it, because their truth is just too ugly to recognize, okay, to come to terms with, and whatever it is. And so, I mean, we could probably do a whole another video on, I could do a whole other video on the way that the media, governments, the officials, the authorities, the medical professions, whatever it is, how they've conducted themselves in this way, and they've all jumped on board. They're all on the exact same sort of fear-mongering, panic, hysteria mode, that they just keep on pushing, right? And they don't care, again, what stresses and anxiety it's causing to people. They don't care. And so if it was more of a loving narrative, I think that it would, or kind, or considerate and empathic narrative, right? And it was more upfront, it was more transparent in what's going on. It wasn't so double standard. It wasn't so saying one thing and then saying something else, and whatever, is contradicting itself all the time, right? But being real for what it is, okay? That we're not real in ourselves as people. So that's something else as well, One more thing that I just think of is, like, when you go to the food, when you go to the store, like, I buy rice cakes. I eat a lot of rice cakes, and I'll go to the section, and it will, and it will say, like, rice cakes, brown rice cakes, unsalted, quinoa, and something else in it as well, like a quinoa, but as well as flaxseed or something like that. And when you turn over the rice cake, it's like 1% quinoa, and the rest of it is 99% rice cake. These false advertisings, where they say that it's something or other, but there's, so that's something else. And so it's manipulation. And we live in a world, folks, of manipulation, of deceit, of false love, okay? And we really got to wake up to it. We got to really see the ugly truth about it in order so that we can learn and know what is genuine. Okay, let's carry on. Disingenuousness of it. It's just like they don't really care, type of thing, and whatever it is. And so it stems into relationship as well, obviously, when it's a false sense of love and false sense of affection, whatever it is, and from parents that put that onto a child, but onto their children, but they don't. It's not for their child's best interest. It's for the parents' best interest to, again, for the child to be able to perform and make the parent proud and whatever it is. And so the parent can live vicariously through their child, and it's done under the guise of love. And a lot of the time it's not love. Someone doesn't love themselves, they can't love another. I really believe that, right? I truly believe that. And so that's a whole other level as well in regards to relationship, where it's false love, okay? And we don't really love each other for who the person is on a soul being level, right? We often love them because they allow us to create and manifest some kind of act and mask that we wear in, some kind of character. And it's like, well, you can be my husband and you can be my wife, and so society can look at us as kind of normal and whatever it is, and yeah, you can be my child, and etc., etc. And it's just a whole performance. There isn't much genuineness in it at all. Music it's there to mind control. It's not there for your best interest. It's not there. The artist a lot of the time, well, nowadays, is not playing because they want you to enjoy. They want you to connect with the lyrics. They want you to think about what's going on, what they're saying. I mean, that's what I think real music is about, where it moves you to your core and your soul, whether it be just classical music or poetry or something, that the artist performs an act of the supernatural in a way. The artist's job is to, what they're doing is to lift the consciousness of the individual higher, right? And that's what they do, and I mean, that's what the intention should be. But the intention today with the music and whatever it is, it's like, like the radio station will say, we'll play all your best hits, and it's all just like, I was going to say the Kim Kardashians, but you know what I'm saying, all the pop music, all of that stuff that is just heavily, overly sexualized or whatever it is. And, you get these gangster rappers that, pretend that they're soulful individuals, and that's the problem. You get the directors of movies, the actors and whatever it is, that they all, just there to entertain you and inspire you and whatever it is, but it's not. It's just to bring, a lot of the time, it's just to bring your level of consciousness down, to dumb you down, basically, type of thing. And so that's what the world is. I'm sorry, that's what I really think from so many aspects of life. It's all it's trying to do is hinder your consciousness, is to dumb you down. Government is trying to disempower you. The world is trying to disempower you, and it's trying to do that with you. And parents, religion is trying to disempower you with a big smile on its face, saying, I love you. I love you, right? I mean, religions are often of the time, like the religion that I came from, that I was a part of, whatever it is. It's like, God does this for your own good well-being type of thing, that he will strike you down, that he cuts off your foreskin at the age of 7 days old or something like that, without anesthetic or whatever it is. Just the harshness and the brutality of it. But God loves you, but fear God. And in a very bad way, and listen to, and it's for your best interest. So it's again, it's we have your best interests in mind, and it's rubbish. And so that's the way that I see the world. It's cunning and it's deceptive, and it does it in the form for concern for your well-being, and it's not, folks. And it's not, it's not unconditional. It's completely conditional, right? And so it makes it very hard to become awakened to this reality, because it's ghastly. It's like, again, in the movie, in the Truman Show, right? His mother, his father, his best friend, okay, we're all out to, and many others, we're all out to con him, right? We're all out to deceive him. It was all false, right? I mean, even that when Truman's talking with Marlon, and he's saying, and for those who haven't seen Truman Show, you got to watch it. Angie, if you're listening, then you got to watch it, my dear. So Marlon, I think his name's Marlon or Marlon is talking to Truman on the hilltop, and Truman is having an existential crisis, and he's turning to his friend, his best friend in this time of desperate need, and he's saying to him like, what's going on? Because Truman's figuring out that he's in a show that everyone's acting and it's a lie, and his friend says to him like, if I'm not in on it, I would gladly step in front of traffic for you, Truman. You're my best friend, and I wouldn't lie to you, okay? And I love you. But let's call his name's Marlon, my ex-landlord, who still owes me my deposit 2 months later. Such a sweet guy, but whatever. So, my refund deposit. So Marlon's investment in Truman is to saying for you to not think, to not wake up, okay, to believe the lie that we're churning here, that we are casting here, to believe it. That's what it wants. And so the affection, like Truman's mother, Truman's wife, and he can feel that there isn't genuine affection there, And so again, it's just a trap. And what we do is we trap each other in our own lives, in our own relationships, right, with so-called false love. And again, it comes with heavy expectations. It comes with like, either you're going to, how many parents, for example, for myself, just parents, let's just say parents, like if you try and talk to them, and it's like if you see a different way to them, it's almost like they can't love you if you don't have the same tunnel vision or the same reality, come from the same reality perspective tunnel as them. They can't love you. It's just like, they love you biologically in a way because they wouldn't want to see you suffer, because it's almost like them, or not everybody, but like if narcissists enjoy seeing their own child suffer, you can be sure. Right? Narcissists are very dark. And so they're wanting to see, they don't want to see you in discomfort because almost in a way biologically, from a survival point of view, it's a threat to them. Okay? And so they kind of love you, but they can't be there for you in the time of need. They can't appreciate your different perspective or just even respect you for it. Okay, I don't want to talk about it, but I respected you, for myself, let's say, like from my father. That's not really the case, but if he says, look, I just disagree with your perspective, but I still, love you anyways, or just because you're not religious you're not Orthodox Jewish, you're not practicing in the religion, I still love you and respect you for who you are and the choices that you made. You see, that can't really happen because I've overridden and questioned his dogma and sort of rebelled against his desire his wishes for me and what he feels is good for me, right, in a sense. And so, and whatever it is, there's much to it, and I don't know. I remember when I was dating a non-Jewish girl, and when we broke up, I was finished. My world was falling apart, and I went to my family in the time of need, and I said, I'm just so heartbroken. And they said, well, she wasn't Jewish, so it's actually a very good thing, and don't do that again, type of thing, and just move on, because it would never have worked, and this is actually a blessing in disguise. And I could not feel where I was coming from at all, type of thing. Let's pause and think for a moment. Yeah, I was just thinking like people that friend you on Facebook. It's like they really want to be your friends, or they just want to have a lot of friends as friends on Facebook. They just want to be popular type of thing, and whatever it is. Again, so people just want, a lot of the time, they just want you to conform to the lie that they're selling, the inauthentic part of themselves, the dishonest part of themselves, their own self-deception, and they want you to join them in their self-deception. And if you do and you play along with them, right, then they like you, right? And that's the world that we live in. And like the emperor wears no clothes, and I'm sure you probably should all know the story of, the analogy or the metaphor that the emperor wears no clothes. And so we're in this agreement, okay? We're in this agreement that, like, we know that the emperor is naked in our hearts, but we don't want to admit it to one another. And when you come and you really want to say, well, the emperor is naked, right? They'll say, well, if you say that, we're not going to like you, okay? for example, even what's going on with the CV story. Well, if you don't wear a mask, if you don't support the narrative, right, then you're like a threat to us, right? Then you're not one of us. You're not part of the collective. You're not part of the crowd, type of thing. You're going against the rules, and then you're putting all our lives in jeopardy and in danger. And I think that's happening on more of a global, level, on a collective level side of things. It's like, people are joining these group tanks, these collective mindsets or whatever it is, and it's like if you're not a part of it, then you're the enemy type of thing. I mean, again, like if you talk about technology being, that you have some concerns for technology, that it's overpowering us, that we're addicted to it, and people who are not in the same camp as you on those thinking see you as sort of like, oh, just a bore, and just please, you're not interesting to me, and I can't relate to you, and what are you trying to what are you're taking away my fun. Why are you being so responsible? So that's it. It's like you're not going to be popular, you're not going to be liked, in a sense, if you're starting to talk the truth, if you're starting to reflect to people their own self-deception and the deception of the world. When you start talking and addressing truth and acting in truth, then you realize how unpopular you really are. So you realize, okay, so what does make me popular? What gets me those likes? What gets me that love is when I be inauthentic. I mean, we were taught from a very young age, as young children, to suppress what we are in our authentic, soulful way, and take on a character and a mask that our parents found was most pleasing, And so that's the game we play on a collective level. And so for myself, it's just, again, like, you realize that you don't need the false love. You don't need the false affection, right? Because it's deceit. It's like the compliment, what's it? That you swallow, that's poisonous in a way. It's a Trojan horse. And so, I don't want to be part of that in that way at all. And so genuine love is the deep appreciation and recognition of another's soul, right? The other's divinity, their uniqueness, right? Their thinking, the way that they think, what makes them unique, their heartfulness, their sensitivity, their kindness, their patience, their respect, right? Their virtues. Those are the things that we just that is what we love about one another, right? That is unconditional love, in a sense. So I don't know, folks. I'm getting frustrated because there was another point that I wanted to introduce. Well, say on this note as well, but it's going to be too long and too much time. All right, folks. So we'll leave it at that for now. Thanks for taking the time, and we'll chat soon. Be well.